welcome back. Another episode of Courtside Philosophy with me, your host, Lonnie Smith. And today I got my guy, Pradeep from Subramanian. What's up, man?
What's up, y'all? Hey, how's it going?
Hey, we're chilling, man. I'm excited for another episode.
Let's do it.
Alright, so today we are doing one of what will become a recurring segment on the show, on the pod. It's called the Supreme Court. So what we're going to do is list out our top 9 guys going into the NBA season. This will be done at the end of each month, where we will come back and do our top 9 guys for the month. As we go throughout the season and into the playoffs, it'll be like the top 9 guys of each round. But for now, top 9 guys going into the NBA season. I'm excited about it. We'll probably have 6 or 7 guys that are about the same, but some discussion about some of the numbers they had last year that just show how great these guys are, and then some talk about what we expect from them this year. So, without further ado, Pradeep, please start us off with your Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Lonnie. So, in my opinion, the Chief Justice going into the season is Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
Clearly, he's incredibly capable. So just quick, what he did in 2022, 2023. He put up 25, 12, and 10, which is pretty much a triple-double stats, leading the best team and arguably the best team in the NBA, the best team in the Western Conference. He was Finals MVP, 2-time MVP in the past. I mean, until somebody knocks him off the top, he remains up here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's arguable for me between him and number 2, who will be number 1 this year. And I have some questions around these two guys, in my opinion. But who do you have as your Chief Justice, Lonnie?
I agree. It's Nikola Jokic. He will be at the top of the bench wearing the powdered wig. He he was incredible last year. Like you say, 24.5, 12, and 10. Shot 38% from 3, 63% from the floor. Effective field goal percentage of 66% while shooting 82% from the line. And then just throughout the playoffs. I know this is more about regular season, but what we just saw from him in the playoffs, he needed to bring it every night, and he did bring it every night. He's hitting some crazy shots. You got AD looking at him sideways like, come on, what am I supposed to do? Like, this dude is kind of unstoppable. His teaming with Jamal Murray is excellent. There's an interesting stat that I was coming across, and I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up. Actually, oh yes, I can. Here. I went to Cleaning the Glass and looked into their offensive, or the efficiency metrics, and Nikola Jokic, when he's on the floor for the Denver Nuggets, they score 19 more points per 100 possessions when he's on the floor, while also being while also being 6 points better per 100 possessions when he's on the floor. And then the thing that I organized by was differential rating, so just taking the difference between those two numbers that I just gave. And when you scroll through by the positions that are listed in Cleaning the Glass, so they go point guard, combo guard, wing, forward, big. The top guy in a lot of these categories are his teammates because he's on the floor with them. Like, the top combo guard and differential is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and it's by 8 points over Alex Caruso. The top wing is Michael Porter Jr., who's ahead of Franz Wagner. And the top forward is Aaron Gordon, who's 8 points better than Lauri Markkanen. Like, this dude just increases everybody's level when he's on the floor. It's incredible.
So, okay, I got a question on that, though.
Yeah.
So, and this is something I've been battling. So, one, Nikola Jokic is arguably the best player in the league now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any debate about that. But his on-off numbers are interesting because is that more of a sign of who he plays with when he's on the court versus what their bench looks like? is he that much better?
Is he
than
that
everybody
much
else?
better?
Does that make sense?
Everybody
else.
Does that make sense?
Because
Like,
in the past,
his team has been
in the
pretty
past,
bad, right?
his team has
Yeah.
been
or
pretty
not
bad,
bad,
right?
They've been like
or not bad.
They've
been
been
like
a
a
4 seed when he's
a
won an
four-
MVP.
a
They've
four
been a 3
seed when
seed
he's
or
won
something
an
like
MVP.
that when he's
Been
won
a
an
3
MVP.
seed
Or something like
really
that
because
when he's won an
all his
MVP.
guys are injured.
Really because
all
they're-
his guys
he's
are
playing with
injured
second string
they're-
guys.
He's playing with second
string guys.
Is his bench
good?
is
Essentially
his
what
bench
I'm
good?
asking.
Is
essentially
Right.
what I'm asking. You know?
Yeah, it's a fair point, and I would say going into this season, I definitely have questions about it. Obviously, last year Bruce Brown was a big piece for them off the bench. I think it's a combination of both, right? Like the bench obviously isn't as strong for them, but their starting five is very lethal, but he's
right.
the engine of that starting five.
Right.
and-
I mean, I got a question here, I guess, for you. So, if he wins an MVP and potentially another Finals MVP this year,
yeah,
is he going to the top 10 all time? Is he part of like 3-time MVP, 2 Finals MVPs,
man,
2-time champion? He's the bus driver on that team, right? It's not like he's hopping on at the end of his career. So
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we can go top 10 like that. I mean, and that depends on how much respect you want to put on like Wilt and a couple of those and a couple of guys like that. But I mean, of course, LeBron, MJ, and this is in no order. Kareem, Kobe, Shaq. Oh, you can argue Shaq, Larry Bird, Magic. Tim Duncan.
all right, and
I got Tim Duncan in there.
does he get in like the top 5 centers of all time? Like these are the conversations he's about to get into, right?
Yeah.
Like if he wins another one, I mean, if he wins another championship, regardless, he's in these conversations.
Yeah.
If he wins a Finals MVP, or sorry, another regular season MVP, then he might supersede some of these guys
Yeah.
that are, you know what I mean,
I
established.
think because he has one, and probably the guy we have next also has one. So if either one of them wins 2, I don't think they can get to top 10 because they're both 2-time MVPs as well. So
Yeah.
I think they're on the doorstep though. They're already probably top 15 at that point. And then if you want to go, because I think they're both international players, so then we can start talking about that too, like top 5 international player of all time.
Right.
Yeah, it's some heady stuff.
They're already there, right? Top 5 international
Top 5?
player of all time.
Timmy, or is Timmy? No, Timmy's in USA. So we got Dirk, we got Hakeem.
I think Timmy's from some Virgin Islands or
Yeah,
something
he's
like
from
that.
the Virgin Islands. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, we got Dirk.
Dirk,
we got,
Hakeem.
Hakeem. Hold on, that might be.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing some guys.
Yeah,
but
we're missing some guys, but yeah, it's
up there, right?
They're up there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
Okay, so I guess that leads us to
number two.
Lonnie.
Number 2.
Yeah.
I gotta go with Giannis Antetokounmpo, a Greek freak.
Really well.
You know, he's just different on the basketball court. I don't think we've really ever seen anything like him with his length and power and just agility. Yeah, he's so good, man. Like his numbers actually weren't too crazy last season. I was looking at him. They classify him as a big on cleaning the glass, and by differential, he's like 11th or 10th on the list. But we know from the eye test what we see, right? His ability to affect both ends of the floor. Like you have to literally change the defense to try to guard him. And now this year, good luck with Dame in addition. I don't know what teams are gonna try to do there, but yeah, the ability to I mean, he doesn't even have to shoot a 3, and he can go get 50 on any given night. Like if he's knocking down threes, there's nothing you can do. The man is unguardable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, if he's knocking down threes, you probably have a better shot at winning the game, right? Like it's like, oh yeah, let him shoot those,
Yeah.
right? Because if he's I don't know, if
Yeah.
you give him a walk to the rim, he's dunking them every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the one knock you have to throw out there. Obviously, the free throw shooting. He's been working on it, and you don't love the moment there when they got bounced in. What was it, Game 5 in the first round, where kind of ran from the ball there, didn't want to be taking those free throws. That was after what he did in Game 6 of the finals that they won, where he hit like 17
Yeah.
of 20 or something.
So,
So
no,
I thought
he was perfect.
was he perfect? Dang,
He was
yeah, it
perfect.
was. I thought we kind of turned a corner with that performance, but not quite. So late game, he's. That's why I mean, Jokic has obviously got some other things going on too, but I know with Jokic, I can keep him out there in late game situations, and if you foul him, it's 2 free throws most likely. But yeah, Giannis is special, man.
Yeah.
He's different.
I was just gonna say I agree with everything you said. The one thing that Giannis doesn't really get recognition for is his defense. He's a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and this is frankly a knock on Jokic, right? To an extent, he's gotten better. I mean, last year he was very good on defense. He was passable on defense as a center,
Right.
but for the most part, that's his weak point. Where you can, if you get a guy like Dame or Steph on Jokic, they're cooking, right? They're gonna drive right by him. But with Giannis, his length, his sort of instincts are there defensively,
Yeah.
and to get a 7-foot point guard, essentially, I mean, Jokic is a point center. I see Giannis; he can play point guard, right?
Yeah.
He can bring the ball up, start at the top of the key, get a full drive right to the rim, right? He's got multiple moves. One thing that I'm curious about this coming year, I'm watching between both of these two guys. Who's the better anchor for the two-man game, right?
Mhm.
Right. Jokic with Murray or Giannis with Dame. Obviously, in my opinion, Jokic and Dame are probably the best two-man game that you can find, because Dame is arguably the best pick-and-roll point guard in the league, just both by efficiency and volume.
Yeah.
So Jokic Dame would be unstoppable. Jokic Murray is pretty unstoppable. We haven't seen Giannis Dame yet, right?
We haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah. I agree. On
Yeah.
paper, it should be completely unstoppable. I will say the stats for that Jokic Murray pick and roll, it's like the most effective play in basketball. Like when you put it through all the metrics, it spits out that combo. And they just know each other. They're on a wavelength where it's like they know the read. Murray is really good point guard, and hopefully he can make an all-star game this year. That'd be pretty cool.
Right.
But yeah,
He's good enough. It's just it's so many guards.
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the Dame is arguably the best pick and roll ball handler in the league, and he played with Nurkic last year, right? And Giannis is on a different level than Nurkic. So he's never played with a guy like Giannis, and Giannis has never played with a guy like Dame. So we'll see how this goes, and hopefully there's no injury issues, and we get to see this all the way through the season.
Yeah.
That's always one of the things that I've also noticed is, and we can talk more about this when we go to the next set of guys. But
Yeah.
the teams that are hyped at the beginning of the season kind of don't really end up
Yeah.
at the end of the season, or during the playoffs. Like, you remember when LeBron and AD came in, and then Kawhi had the whole commercial stuff, and like they had the whole bubble series. And then they never met. They still haven't met, right? There was never a battle for LA in the playoffs. There was nothing like that. And that was one of the biggest letdowns.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that this, like, Bucks Boston hype that we've been seeing, right, may not exist in the playoffs. Anyway, that's a tangential point that I had.
Yeah. All right. Number 3. This is where it gets a little interesting because I figured
Yeah.
the top 2 were simple, and then I still think 3 through about 7 will probably have the same dudes, just in a
Yeah,
different order.
different orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
number 3 for you,
yeah.
sir.
So another thing I wanted to say is I have these two guys on their own tier,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I think they're just separated.
I
They've
agree with
proven
that.
themselves. They're still in their primes,
Yes.
right? They're both 28, which is like ideal, the near the zenith of their prime, right?
Yep.
So they're there. For number 3, I have Tatum, and
Wow.
that is because I'm just looking at one statistically. I don't see a huge difference across the board, but year after year, his team is at the top of the league in the East and in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, this year might be the year that Tatum breaks through and gets into a top 2 or 3 MVP conversation because that team could win a lot of games in the regular season. Offensively, I don't see many flaws in them. Defensively, there could be flaws. There could be injury concerns. But they did bring in Drew Holiday, who has his own injury issues. But I just see Tatum as a talent. He's proven it every year since he came into the league, right? And I look at the guys below him, and like they might be as talented or slightly more talented, but they just haven't proven that they can win when it matters.
Okay. I see the approach you took there. I do have Tatum as a Justice. He's on my list, but he is not 3rd. He is 7th.
Oh wow! Okay,
I have him
okay.
7th on my list. I mean, I love Tatum. He's a great player. Dug into a few numbers. I mean, his differential per cleaning the glass is kind of low. He's in the 78th percentile. I was a little surprised that he's actually a minus on defense. Now I know that you got to account for his teammates in that. All right, so who he's playing with, but that was a little bit surprising. His 3-point shot is kind of hovered around 35%, and
That should be higher.
that's
Yeah.
got to go up. Apparently, he's got like a wrist thing or something, and he was considering
Yeah, he's not
having
doing surgery.
he's
So
not doing
that's,
surgery for it. So we'll see how that goes.
yeah.
I mean, but I've skewed more towards offense with some of my rankings or with my rankings. But the other thought I did have with Tatum, like, I gotta know, and he's had these moments where he's shown like he's the guy, right? He had the 55 piece or whatever that was in
yeah.
at home to
Against
close
the
out the Sixers.
Right? Yeah.
But he had 16 the game before that, so he got a little up and down in that regard. And then we
Yeah.
had questions at the beginning of last year for about 2 months. Like, is it Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum? Who's better? And we figured out that answer. I think. Like, I figured out the answer.
Yeah,
But-
I think everybody did.
But yeah, and I kind of looked at it from a standpoint of like, how much are you asked to do with regard to your team? And Tatum is asked to do a good amount, but you got guys around you, right? It's a really good team. You got JB. Now you have Drew. All right, Derek White is no scrub, and you got a couple other guys. Even last year, Marcus Smart was chipping in. Al Horford does his little bit of thing. Now you got Porzingis too for this year. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he really will have the opportunity this year to go like crazy with the numbers, especially since they're paying JB $300 million. They extended him, so I'm playing you, and I need to see some points. So I had him down the list, but he's still
Fair.
on there.
One thing I will say is, of the guys that I have on the list, he has the best team, in my opinion. He's got the best teammates. So his on-off numbers are not going to be as good as others because he's just got better teammates. Jaylen Brown is probably the second best number. I don't know. We'd have to look at number twos for all of these guys. But he might be up there, second or third best number 2. Plus, they have a bunch of guys that are quality rotation guys or former All-Stars.
Yeah.
So, no, the reason I say this is they have an opportunity to be like a 60-win team this year, the way they're set up. And if that's the case, then I can definitely see an MVP case for Jason Tatum this year.
Yeah.
And so if I can see that, then I have to put him up there at number 3. That's my sort of thought process.
Yeah.
But it's also like splitting hairs between these guys. So
Yeah, it is. Just a quick aside: are we sure JB is number 2? Are we sure?
you pay him $300 million, he
Hold
has
on.
to be the number 2,
Hold
right?
on.
Like,
Listen,
I feel like the slander's getting a little too far here. Come on, man.
I'm just saying. Hold on. When I was going through some of these numbers, I was pleasantly surprised.
Don't bring it in the playoffs. Don't bring it in the playoffs.
No, I'm not.
right?
I'm not. This is regular season. This is Drew Holiday has the best differential in efficiency, on-off efficiency of every point guard who played over 1,200 minutes last year. He's a plus 7.6 on offense, and he's a plus 6 on defense. Like, dude is good, real good. Like,
He's very good.
Like, the actual numbers between he and Dame are pretty much identical in total, but obviously he's just more balanced. Dame's is skewed towards offense. So
Dame grades out as like the second or third worst defender in the league.
Yeah.
Right? So he's not good.
but Drew is he's a guy, man. But yeah, that's another conversation. We'll have to have that some other day. All right, so I guess it comes to me. So my number 3, but the fourth guy who will make the Supreme Court is Joel Embiid. And
Okay.
I obviously know what happened in the playoffs. That's a complete miss from Joel. You can throw in the injury that he had in the first round, but I'm not really trying to hear that. Like, I need you to show up, big fella. But regular season
It can't
wise,
happen every year.
it can't happen every year.
That's his excuse every year.
Yeah. But regular season, dude kind of has an unstoppable shot almost. That mid range at the nail, like, he just steps into that and he's knocking that down. It's just butter. Dude is shooting 57% effective field goal percentage, 86% free throw shooter. He averaged 33, 10, and 4 last year. It's some heady stuff. He is their defense. Like, his defensive rating is equivalent to most teams' defensive rating.
Right.
Like, I heard that. I saw it. I heard it. I think JJ Redick mentioned it on a pod they did together. That's insane. That he by himself is equivalent to a team defense. So obviously, you don't love all the falling and stuff. I guess he's explained that, distribute the load over more surface areas, so there's not as much risk of an injury. But yeah, offensively, I don't know what you do with him. Like, he's got a mid-range. He can knock down the 3. He can play in the post. He's absolutely a bully. He's coming down the lane, just move out the way. And defensively, he's coming over weak side. He's blocking stuff. Like, he's the real deal out on that court, man. He's good. So I got him number 3.
And so I have him on my list too. He's number 5 on my list.
Okay.
So the reason, everything you said is absolutely correct. He's just got an unstoppable game. He showed it last year. I think he was the points leader last year.
He was.
Yeah, he was the points leader last year. And, obviously MVP, he's just got an unstoppable game. Him and Jokic are bringing back the big man, the importance of having like a good quality big man and taking it away from the guard centered league. One thing I will say, and I cannot take it out of this situation, is this whole Harden fiasco. I'm wondering how much of that is going to impact him this coming year. Does he need a floor general to get him the ball in his spots? He's not like Jokic or Giannis where he'll bring it up and then run DHO or he's not an initiator of the offense. He gets the ball at the block, right? Let him go to work.
Yeah.
And he's excellent at it, but that is, in my opinion, just one facet of the game. And you need a floor general to get you there. Harden, it looks like he's going to get moved at some point. He doesn't want to be there. They're relying on Maxey, and I don't see him having that sort of mindset or mentality of the floor general, point guard, get everybody their shots.
Yeah.
He's kind of
a combo guard.
Yeah, but apparently that's what he was working on in the off season, was being more of a combo kind of guy who can, play that kind of a role. And I'm sure they obviously had that reason in mind because of we don't know what James is going to do.
Right. So, like, in that sense, I do see one question I have is like, does Embiid score more or less than he did last year? Right? Because if they lose on talent by trading Harden, because they're going to lose on talent,
Yeah.
right? He's made enough of a mess around the Sixers this year that they're not going to get the return that they want for Harden. So they're going to lose on talent. Does he make that up?
Like what happens there? I just there's a lot more questions around him this year that I couldn't put him up there with these guys that have clearly defined roles, clearly defined, contributions essentially, and the ability for them to run the system that they're in. I don't know if Embiid can do that. I also don't know what Nick Nurse is going to make him do.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's going to run him more and
Right.
play him more minutes. So it's like, is that good for him? Who knows, right? So there's a lot of questions for me with Embiid this year.
Yeah, and those are valid questions. I was part of me was banking on Nick Nurse maybe getting a little creative. I want to see what they can do with him. They also have DeAnthony Melton as another guard who could maybe come in and do
Yeah.
some things. I like DeAnthony, so I'm not. I mean,
And-
obviously, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, maybe all this shit that I'm saying is concern trolling, right? Like, who knows, right? Like,
Yeah.
might be like none of it mattered and he's fine, right? And he's a top 3. That's the thing about this list, I feel like. All these guys could be, at least in the top 5 through 8, maybe, could be in an MVP conversation year in, year out, right? Like, who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, I think it'll be tough to obviously stop him. Like, I see the concern. Part of me is like, you can actually hand the ball to Joel. Like, he won't run the DHO, so he'll come set the screen. You can slip it to him, and then when he's in that space, now that he's got this mid range, if you're the guy who's backpedaling, I don't know where you go. Do you stay up and stay tight because then he's going by you and going up for some type of layup and drawing the foul because he's good at that. Or if you do sag off, then he's just taking that jumper at the nail and he's hitting that. So I'm not overly concerned. I think he'll still get his numbers. So that's why I kept him up at 3.
Yeah, and the just for sort of clarification, the Embiid Harden pick and roll is one of the best in the league,
It is.
right? It's up there with the Jokic Murray pick and roll.
Yeah.
So, but him losing that is my concern, right? Losing that partner,
Yeah.
and we have no idea what kind of mess Harden is going to make at the beginning of the year too, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be. I'm tuning into all those games.
Oh yeah.
You're figuring that out.
All right. Number 4
You want me
for
to go
you. Yes.
So I got Luka at number 4.
Okay.
I just think the talent is there. It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah. I mean, we've never seen a guy like this. And we have. His name is LeBron James, actually, right? Like, except defensively, Luka has some issues,
He
right?
does.
But he's a 6'8", 6'9" point guard that he can see everything. He's actually a better shooter than LeBron was. He's just as good of a playmaker as LeBron was. It's nearly a second coming, right? And
Yeah.
so you have to have this guy up here. This year's going to be interesting. It's they don't have as much talent as they did the last few years, and that's because they put it all in Kyrie. We'll see how that experiment goes. But the reason I have him 4th and not higher up, which he could be at the end of this year, is I just don't think this like ball dominant, your turn, my turn style works in the long run.
Yeah.
We saw it with the Harden Rockets with Chris Paul and a little bit with Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
And that was fine, but I think defenses have started to figure it out. Plus, they don't have enough to cover up for Luka's deficiencies. And his deficiencies are great enough to where that, that can impact the team win total. So because of all of those, I have him below because it's just not a clear enough case for me for
Yeah.
Luka.
Yeah, okay. You actually have him higher than me.
Oh, okay.
It's a little surprising because we did talk about the under 25, and I had Luca 1, you had Tatum 1.
Yeah.
I have Luca 5th, so just one
Okay.
spot lower.
Okay.
But yeah, everything you said is correct. Dude he's a one-man show. He can do everything. Yeah, actually, looking at his efficiency differential, he was actually a slight positive on defense for the Mavericks last year in points per 100
Wow.
possessions, which is surprising considering they don't really have. I don't think they had a real big for their offense last year.
Does Maxi Kleba count?
No, it's like the White Powell who comes
Yeah.
off the bench or something. Or was JaVale there last year?
No, we're not counting Joe.
But yeah, so I was a little surprised by that, and obviously offensively he's elite, second on the list behind Dame. I mean, the dude is magic. He's Luka Magic. That's what they call him. His nickname. It's well deserved. He can get you 40 whenever he decides to, while getting you the rest of it too. Triple doubles are always in play when he's on the court. His efficiency isn't always great. 3-point shooting is still a little lacking. I think it's even probably lower than Tatum at this point. So if he ever became more efficient at shooting threes, and free throws, he's not the best free throw shooter. But yeah, in terms of reading coverages and seeing the floor, like there's some passes he's made where I've just been looking like I don't know how he saw that.
On his shooting too, I don't know if this is fair to say, but when you said that his 3-point shooting percentages are low, that was surprising to me. Obviously, that's compared to the rest of it's still pretty good. But maybe his threes are just louder. When he takes these threes, they're just such momentum shifting sort of chucks in the air, right? And especially he crosses somebody up. And then he just has this hierarchy three. I can just imagine it in my head.
Yeah.
And the whole Dallas crowd goes crazy. All of a sudden, the entire game shifts. Right? So, he's Luka Magic, like you said. And then there's an opportunity. If they end up being top 2 or 3 in the league, he could be the Chief Justice this coming year. Right? He can end the year as the best player in the league.
Yeah.
So
I looked it up real quick. 34% from 3 last year. So you got to get that number up. But yeah, like you said, though, like when you think about Luka, there's definitely threes that come to mind, like the one in the bubble against the Clippers.
Yeah.
He hit, I think he got the Mike Breen double bang on that one. And he's hit some more that
it's just so loud when he does it. And I don't mean that in the sense of the crowd. I mean he just changes how the defense has to play him now.
Yeah,
right?
It's weird. Like the numbers would suggest that you would actually leave him on a 3, but if it's a late game situation, I want it in his hands for sure, and I'm okay with the 3. Like if he takes it, I'm fine with it, which is weird.
Yeah.
Weird to say statistically I shouldn't be, but if he takes it, I'm like, he must have felt something in those hands because I feel like it's going in.
Luka Magic, man.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think we went to... Did we cover your top 4 so far?
We've covered... No, I got one more for my top 4.
Go ahead.
That is Stephen Curry. Wardell,
Nice.
Stephen Curry. I mean, everything about this guy has already been said. He's just different, man. Like, his metrics are great. He was actually somewhat of a plus on defense last year. Now, some of that is Draymond, of course, but
he works at it.
He does.
It's not like he's not.
yeah,
He's not a competent defender. He's just small. That's his big issue. That's his big issue.
right. So he works at
Continue.
it.
Sorry.
and
Yeah,
so he was actually a little bit of a plus for the Warriors last year. I mean, he changed the game, and it's just the fact that just beyond half court is in play. Like, I mean, you got to guard him damn near the whole court because he can pull from anywhere, and then the stamina that he has, and I mean, what is he, 35, and he's still able to run around all these screens all over the court, and then the ball is released in not even a fraction of a second.
Right.
It feels like he barely even looks at the rim. He's looking away after it goes up most of the time now. Like, the training he does, he literally changes his breathing pattern with, like, working on his diaphragm so he can do all of this motion in their offense.
It's just nonstop with him. Just nonstop.
He's always moving. I can't imagine trying to guard him and actually chase him around all these screens, man. Like, and then you add to it, like, he's so lethal from three. You can't leave him, or it's almost an automatic bucket. He's shooting like 45% from three. It's insane. We forget he's got a handle and he can get to the basket.
Yeah.
He can finish around the rim. He's crafty.
I mean, in against the Kings, where he put up 50 in Game 7, they literally spammed pick and roll like every time. They're like, "We're just gonna do it again and again."
Yep.
Right. So, no, he's up. I mean, on my list, he's number 6. That is that has nothing to do with his talent and his ability. He's clearly one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
He has changed the game, how we see the game. He's changed how the players that are coming in are playing, right? Yeah. And the style that they're playing. He's put more of an emphasis on off-ball movement compared to like the early 2010s and the sort of Harden-esque style, right?
Right.
And he has a gravity that you see. He changes how the offense, the defense can play the game when he's on the court. The only concern, and this might be concern trolling for me, I have with him is he's 35 now.
Yeah.
This was the age when LeBron. So LeBron's only 38, right? And like at some point, Steph is going to get beat up enough to where the injuries, in my opinion, are going to start taking hold. When LeBron came to the Lakers, he was old, and immediately he started getting injuries. He had that groin injury that took him out for a year. I think it was. Then they got AD, and then the bubble season happened, and then the next year happened. He got injured again and again and again. Right, like these guys have a bunch of miles on them. And I'm just worried about his age and like his injury history. He could miss a lot of games. He has shown to do that in the past. Ankles are a big concern for him. Also, when KD came over, he kind of let KD take the 1A role, right? So does he take a step back, in my opinion, with CP3 on the team to give him more? Like I'm imagining that's just the kind of player he is, right? He's
a selfless player, but that's two different situations, right? KD was still in his he's still awesome, but at that point, what was he, like 30 when he came over? So he's like in his prime, like top 3 arguably in the league at the time. So yeah, of course that guy. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure he's happy and we work this out. Chris is 38, and so I'm like, it's more gonna be like get in where you fit in, kind of thing. And they might start him and then have him run the second unit kind of stuff. But this is Steph's team.
Yeah, I'm just seeing like a lot of the situations where he was running pick and roll because they didn't have anybody else.
Yeah.
And he was hyper efficient. Now goes to Chris Paul to take some, to give Steph some time off. You know what I mean? So it's not so, the system isn't so reliant on Steph. And doing that will help his longevity, but it will impact his, like advanced metrics. Again, this could be concern trolling, right? Like this could not happen at all. But I'm just wondering, like, okay, incorporating Chris Paul, who is so ball dominant, will take some usage and some playmaking potential from Steph away.
Yeah,
right.
I see that. I guess the question is how much overlap will they have with their time on the court?
Right.
And then, yeah, when they are on the court, to your point, Chris does play slowly. He's one of the slowest players in the league.
Right.
Even forget his age. That's just that's his MO. So what does that do to this Warriors offense? Because they usually
Right.
play quickly and move the ball.
Fast.
Everybody's
They play in
moving around.
chaos, right? And Chris Paul's not a chaotic player, right? He's an organizer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, that'll be interesting. But I still got my man Steph up there.
Okay.
All right.
Well, have we hit your? So we've hit my top 6 for me.
Oh, really? We've hit my top 4 plus Tatum is.
Seven.
Sorry, so we've hit my top 5 plus Tatum is 7. So I still have 6
Go
on
ahead.
my list. That's the guy we were just talking about, Kevin Durant. I mean,
That's fair.
the Durantula, easy money sniper. That's such an awesome nickname, by the way.
Yeah.
I love that. But dude,
I like the Slim Reaper. I'm not gonna lie. The Slim Reaper is pretty dope.
That's pretty good. But yeah, KD is. I couldn't keep him off this list. I mean, he's just so efficient with his shooting, and he's actually. He's been a pretty good defender, even for a guy who's like rail thin. But he'll come over from the weak side and block some stuff. So he was a plus on defense all last season. Obviously, a big plus on offense. His differential was like the 3rd best amongst. They categorize him as a big, actually, on cleaning the glass, which is kind of weird. But yeah, dude is. I mean, mid-range king with his height and his handle. There's literally like nothing you can do. I've heard Iman Shumpert talk about it on pause, where he's just like, when he's doing like the yank on the cross, like his arms are covering like damn near 10 feet. So it's like if you're gonna try and steal this ball, you gotta sell out way over here, or else you're looking stupid when he comes back this way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful basketball to watch. He's so efficient from 3. He doesn't take a lot of threes. I wish he would take a couple more, because he's so good from 3-point range. And you can finish around the basket, foul him. He's going to the free throw line. He's still so good. Like I mean, for all the stuff he gets off the court, I just feel like he's an easygoing dude. Like, as long as he's just got a ball in his hand and he's playing, like he's chill. Like the rest of it is gravy.
Yeah, like I find him funny on his social media and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why he gets so much hate.
Yeah.
Honestly, everything you said is like I have him 7th. Everything you said is absolutely accurate. He, in my opinion, is arguably maybe the best or second best individual offensive player of the last decade. Right? Like he's up there. I mean, you could argue Steph, you could argue Harden, you can argue Jokic, right?
Yeah.
But like in terms of a one-on-one, I would not have anybody else other than KD.
Yeah.
He's going to shoot over you. Like you can't do anything,
There's
right?
nothing you can do.
So he belongs in this conversation because he instantly elevates any team into a contender, right? Like any team he's on, they're doing really well. Last year with the Nets, they had nobody, and he had them like the what is it, the 3 seed or the 4 seed?
Yeah, they
Before
were
he got
the 4th
traded.
seed before he got traded, and then they hung on for dear life to the 6th.
Yeah, right. Like that's wild to me. And he had nobody on that team. The only reason I have him 7th is he hasn't been able to finish seasons. He has had injury issues that has plagued him. He's also 35, so you wonder how many more of these. Oh,
What's up?
oh, you good?
Yeah,
Are we
we're
good? Okay. You wonder how many more of these, injury-plagued seasons he still has. How many more healthy seasons he has.
Yeah.
Those are my only concerns. I think he's going to do great. I think the Phoenix situation is going to go great for him. He could arguably be an MVP this year. If this team wins 60 games, that's there for him.
Yeah.
So, he's 7th for me.
Yeah. I think the way to epitomize KD is he was playing against Boston, I think, when he was in Brooklyn, and Marcus Smart was guarding him. And this man went into a one-legged 3 and switched it, and then they cut to Marcus Smart, and all he does is like look back at him, and he's just like, "Damn!" Like, that's just
It's like
crazy.
yeah, it's just And it's not like he doesn't put in the work too.
No,
It's like
he's
every
always in the
summer,
gym.
He's in there, right?
Yeah, like
He's like a hooper. He's the definition of the hooper, right?
Like he's thinking about basketball on like a plane level kind of stuff, where like he's almost like beyond the numbers in a sense. Like he's just thinking about it like the purity of the game. Like how can I chase that?
Yeah, he's become enlightened. He's the basketball Buddha, right?
Yeah.
All
right.
Okay,
that covers our top 7 for both of us. So this is where it gets interesting. 8, 9.
Yeah,
I had like 5 guys in the running for this spot.
Same.
And I knew I had to pick 2. So I think it's your turn, sir. So who you got?
Okay, this might be controversial depending on which fan base you belong to, but I have AD.
Ooh, we agree. Ooh,
okay, all right.
I didn't think we would agree.
If you're a Laker fan, actually, you might be hating on this because they hate AD for some reason.
I know.
I have enough Laker fans in my life that I know how much they bag on him. And I think he is incredibly underappreciated.
Yes.
Any team he's on is arguably a top 5 defense just off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, he covers so much ground. He makes up for so many issues that it's, I don't know, it's a like they should be excited to have a guy like AD instead of ragging on him every opportunity that they get. He is maybe a top 5 center in the league right now.
Yes,
I would say maybe even when he's playing top 3, right? Behind Jokic and Embiid.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to consider Giannis a center. If we do, he's behind him as well. Yeah. But like, you know, he's up there. And then when his shot is going, he's just unstoppable. It's just unstoppable. He'd be a top 3 player in the league if his shot was hitting. So, yeah.
Wow, I'm happy we agree on this because I started looking at some things and I was like, I have to put AD on this list. This dude is getting disrespected. Can I read some numbers?
Go ahead. Go.
Because this is insane. Because we think about AD and obviously everybody calls him like Mr. Glass or Street Clothes or whatever. But
Davis.
Yeah, but I want to read some of his stats from this past season, just like games in a row. Last year, from like November to December, he put down lines like this: 27-6, 25-8, 22-10, 22-14, 23-15, 20-16, 22-8, 19-12, 29-4, 21-9, 24-14, 37-18, 38-16, 30-18, 37-21, 25-15, 25-13, 27-12, 44-10, and 55-17. That is in a row. This man was dropping double doubles with 30 and 40 pieces and a 50 piece in there. And like you said, he is the defense. I just present to you the whole Golden State Warriors series. That he was their problem. It was just Anthony Davis. They couldn't figure out what to do with him. They came off of pick and rolls with Steph trying to decide, do I hit this floater or do I try to challenge AD? That's a bad idea. Okay, let me kick it out. Lakers were ready for any kickouts and locking things up. It was a masterpiece from AD in that second round, in that series in the second round. Dude is so good on the defensive end, and what I love is he stopped taking as many threes. He just stuck to taking 2s. He's super efficient from 2-point range. He's an absolute monster around the basket. He'll get you second chance opportunities, clean up the glass on the other end, get those rebounds. And he has his nights, yes, where he goes down and you kind of wonder what happened. But like that stretch right there tells me this dude can do things when he's right. And when he's right, you cannot keep him out of the top 9.
Yeah.
You can't.
So this is what I've been. So I like I said, I have a few Lakers fans in my life, and this ends up being the discussion.
By the way.
What's that?
My condolences.
Thank you. They're a very annoying fan base. Let's just say that. What I would say is, their team is a contender.
Yeah.
The problem that I have is expecting both these guys to stay healthy.
Yeah,
when I say both, I mean LeBron and AD.
Yeah, that's why he's not like top 5 on my list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're expecting them to not be healthy.
Yeah.
And so, if because of that, I don't, like you said, we don't have them top five. I don't have that team in my top six team wise,
Ooh.
and I know that's a take because they've built a solid squad, but it's so reliant on AD specifically to
Yeah.
be healthy through the season, and he just hasn't proven it, right?
Yeah.
So, but when he's a Supreme Court candidate, right?
Yeah. He absolutely is. All right.
All right, sir. Last pick. Who you got?
Oh man. Whew. All right. So
You want to go through who you debated first?
yeah, that's exactly what I was about to do.
Okay.
So I looked at a couple other lists to get an idea of some things too, along with looking at some metrics and stuff. And like ESPN just came out with their top 100 players, and they released their top 10. They had SGA at 8.
Okay.
I can't get him in the top. I can't put him in the top 9. I've
I'm
seen.
in the same boat. He's an honorable mention for me.
He's an honorable mention. He played so well last year. I love his game, and it's one season though. Like I got to see it again, and maybe he expands and start taking a few more threes. We'll see, but yeah, I couldn't get SGA in there. Devin Booker, KD's teammate. I considered. Obviously, we saw what the efficiency in that Denver series was insane for those first 5 games. It tailed off in Game 6, but I mean, he's in the conversation. Defensively, he's still kind of a minus, so I considered him for it, but I couldn't quite get him in there.
Same.
And
Honorable
then
mention.
the last guy I considered that didn't get in was LeBron James. I'm sorry.
It's the same.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get him in. He's obviously historically one of the best of all time, but I looked at some of his metrics. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up this here. Oh yeah,
Sorry, you said LeBron, Book, and SGA?
yeah. They just missed out.
Okay.
Yeah, LeBron. I mean, his usage is still high, which is the concerning thing because they want to bring that down. But his points per shot attempt per cleaning the glass was in the 41st percentile amongst bigs. But I looked at it throughout his career. It's the lowest mark in his career since like his rookie year, damn near, at 118.3 per 100 shot attempts. It's gone down. His numbers look good when you just look at the raw numbers, but the efficiency went down. Yeah, and his I think win shares were actually less than AD last year. So I love LeBron. I need like the Stephen A graphic where I have like a loving father, devoted husband, and all these other things. People are gonna come after me, but I couldn't get him in top 9. If I had the pick, put him on the list. I put him 10. He's the first one out, but
Yeah.
I couldn't get him at 9.
I'm on the same boat with LeBron. I think, it's kind of, we're just, the only other person I could see being on the same caliber in any sports league in the world is Tom Brady, right? Like he's in that sort of level of with his age, his competitive spirit, his ability to keep his body at top. At the top of the line to avoid injuries for as long as he has to. We've all been blessed to have watched him play, right? So, but you're right. I couldn't put him top 9 this year. I just don't see his MVP case, which is one of the criteria that I used was like, okay, if this guy had a great season, would he win an MVP?
Yeah.
And I just can't see LeBron having that great season and being in an MVP conversation.
So,
yeah.
With all that said, I wonder if we have the same guy. This would be interesting. Number 9 for me.
Oh, I will also say I have honorable mention as Dame. I do want to say that because he offensively he graded out as the best or the second best offensive player in the league.
Yeah.
And offense wins games, and it's obviously he didn't win many games, but it's still one of the best in my opinion in the league at his position.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, good honorable mention. So, number 9 for me, last Supreme Court Justice, Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy
Okay.
Butler
Okay.
at number 9. Emo Jimmy slides in.
He was an honorable mention for me,
For
so
you?
we do have a difference here.
Okay, I'm curious then who you picked because I got Jimmy. So I mean, obviously coming off the playoff performance, I know the finals wasn't great, but obviously what he did against the Milwaukee Bucks to close that out in games 4 and 5. I mean, he got injured for a game against the Knicks, but he played well the rest of that series, and then of course just being that leader that he is, he got them through that series, even though they lost 3 in a row against Boston in one stretch. But last year, the numbers aren't like crazy. It's 23, 6, and 5, but he shot, 56% effective field goal percentage, 85% from the floor, 35% from 3. His PER was the highest it's ever been, I think, in his career at 27.6. He usually is around 21.5 in his career. The dude he's good. He's mid-range. That's kind of his area. He operates there. He's one of the guys that's best at that in the league. He's not obviously a great three-point shooter, but he's when he gets going, as he can show you, like he has to be the leader for that Miami team, and is always their MVP each year. 9 is a tougher sell because there's some other guys you could throw in there, but off of that performance, I slid Jimmy in and gave him his due at 9.
Fair. I don't know how you're going to feel about my number 9.
No.
So you have Jimmy Butler as my honorable mention. I forgot to mention him too. So I have for honorable mentions, I have Butler, Dame, LeBron, Book, and SGA.
Okay.
Those are the guys I considered.
I'm trying to think. Who's left?
I have Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, I was just thinking about it.
So last year he only played 52 games.
Yeah.
But I think LeBron only played like 55, and Dame played 58,
Yeah.
right? So I couldn't necessarily disregard him for it.
Yeah.
Last year he was 24, 7, and 4 at nearly a 50-40-90 efficiency,
Yeah.
right? Obviously we know the defensive stalwart he is, right? Between December and April, he was a top 5 NBA player.
Yeah.
It's just like that's a matter of fact, right? Like when he plays, he's an MVP candidate. It's just his ability to play.
Yeah.
And my thought was, well, if I have AD on here, I have to consider Kawhi, right? Like, and I think you brought up this week that he's playing. So he's playing. So I was under the impression earlier that he might not even touch the court this year. So the fact that he's playing is interesting news, and it's contract year, right? So I can see an MVP case for him this year. If he plays this season, the Clippers are a top 2 to 3 C team, right?
Yeah.
I can see that case.
Oh, man. What's crazy? I did come across his numbers, and I looked at him, and I was like, dang, he's still that dude. And the thought that just crossed my mind immediately was like, when he's healthy, he's a top 9 player. You can't leave him off the list. He has to be on the list. And I think I may have underestimated how many games he actually played last season. Because now you're talking about December through April. I didn't realize it was that long of a period.
Yeah.
Did he miss some time in January?
He missed a little bit of time in January. He missed a little bit of time at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
But his injury took hold, I believe, close to the playoffs. I think it was towards the end of the year. He got injured.
Yeah.
So I had to put him up there because one, he's the claw, right? Like you can't.
Yeah, I forgot to mention him in my honorable mentions because I looked at some of these other lists and they've got him down at like 24 on some of these lists. Like I think ESPN's list, he's somewhere in that range, and I'm just like, I can't put him that low. Like I know he's injured, but man,
when he plays,
right. We just talked about KD and like I was doing the whole yank thing, like when he comes with the cross. Go watch Kawhi defend KD in that Phoenix series in the first 2 games, and you can't tell me this man is not special on defense. Like he's the only guy who could do what he did to KD, which is rip him and then go the other way and finish at the rim.
Right. from when he was, so he started in the league. He shot like 38%.
Yeah.
Now he's shooting 40+% from three, right?
Like, his knock was that he wasn't that good of a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
And now he's just, not only is he's only 31.
I know.
Right? Like, he's still in his prime.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's got some degenerative issues with his legs. That sucks. But when he plays, he's arguably a top 9 player in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my list. Should we go through it again?
Yeah. Run it down. 1 through 9.
Go ahead. You first.
All right. So for me, 1 and Chief Justice Nikola Jokic. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo. 3, Joel Embiid. 4, Steph Curry. 5, Luka Doncic. 6, Kevin Durant. 7, Jason Tatum. 8, Anthony Davis. Number 9, Jimmy Butler.
All right, nice. I got for my list, it's the Chief Justice is Jokic. Second, not far off, is Giannis. Third, a bit far off from those two, and I have them tiered as well. So in tier 1, I have Jokic and Giannis. In tier 2, I have Tatum, Luka, Embiid, and Steph. In tier 3, I have KD, AD, and Kawhi. And that's my 9, with honorable mentions of Butler, Dame, LeBron, Book, and SGA.
Yeah. Oh man! All right. So we got our list. I think it's identical, just different orders except for the last guy. I got Jimmy and you got Kawhi. I guess Kawhi on the side. He's the stenographer. He's over there typing everything that's said in the meetings. But yeah, we'll see if he stays healthy this year. He's definitely gonna move up for me. As he's different when he's out there on that court. But all right, sir, that's a wrap for this one. That's a good one. All right, we got to do, I guess, MVP and most improved and all those kind of award predictions next time. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time for that one.
All right,
peace.
Later.